In alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. We're continuing with our topic of how to benefit from the mistakes of the companions. And we stopped off yesterday speaking about how Ali had arrived in Basra with an an army of over 20,000 men. But his army was an embarrassment, because most of the men who had joined his army were all rebels who had played a role in the murder and rebellion against Uthman. So it was not an army to be proud of. It was a shameful army. And he knew that these were not good men. The caliber of the men in this army were not good. They probably were hypocrites or kafirs because of what they've done to Uthman. But anyway, he arrived in Basra and he gave a speech to his men, letting them know what his intentions were. I'm not here to kill Ayesha or even fight against any Muslim. I'm here to try to resolve this issue peacefully. He let them know, I do not want any of you to raise an arrow or a sword against another Muslim unless I tell you to. He said, I'm going to try to resolve this with Ayesha and Talha and Zubair, and hopefully we'll be able to do it peacefully. He said, but if something should happen and it can't, and something happens, I do not want the first strike or the first shot or the first arrow to come from any of you, because Allah knows that it's not my intention for Muslims to fight each other. So he gave this speech to his men. And then he sent messengers to meet with Ayesha and Talha and Zubair and try to resolve it. And they did reach an understanding. The messenger they sent was a very good man who Ayesha and them respected. He brought out some good points. He emphasized to Ayesha, you got your vengeance against the people of Basra who played a role in the murder of Uthman. But did it solve the problem? No, it did not. He said, you and Talha and Zubair are angry because Ali did not jump immediately to try to bring justice. He said, how could he, when he was forced into the position by the rebels? The rebels were amongst him in Medina. He didn't have the upper hand over them. So how could he fight for justice that soon? He had to first get the people settled and then deal with the rebels. So the messenger brought out some very good points that made Ayesha and Talha and Zubair rethink their situation. And they agreed to try to resolve this, peacefully with Ali. So Ali's messengers then went back to him and told him the success of their mission. And Ali was so happy because, again, he did not want to fight against the Muslims, just like Ayesha and Talha and Zubair didn't. So the two armies were encamped in what is known as the Valley of the Lion outside of Basra. They were facing each other as Ali and Ayesha and them were going through these peace parleys. Okay? The day after the messenger had met with Ayesha, Ali posted a man in the center carrying a copy of the Quran on his head. This was to indicate that we were resolving things peacefully in accordance to the Quran, and there was not any friction at this point. This was a sign of how things were being resolved peacefully and well. Ali on his camel went to the center of the valley, and he called out for Talha and Zubair to come and meet with him. He wanted to meet them personally and talk to them personally, since the messenger gave him the great news that everybody was in agreement. And Talha and Zubair came forward. And when they came forward, Ali asked them, he said, why did you guys rebel against me, my brothers? He said, we're brothers. What happened? How did we let Shaitan do this to us? They said, well, we were forced. It was the rebels' fault. They said the rebels had forced us to do this. They said, it's not that we didn't want to support you, Ali. It's just that we were so upset about what happened to Uthman. We wanted to deal with the murderers of Uthman. And then Talha and Zubair told Ali, if we're all on the same page, then you have our support. If you're ready to take to finish the mission of getting, since we're here, let's get the people who were responsible for murdering our brother Uthman. If you're in agreement, then we'll give you our support and let's do this together. And that's when Ali looked at Zubair. For those of you who don't know, Zubair was Ali's cousin. These guys were all related. He said, Zubair, you are my cousin. Do you remember the time that we were sitting with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and we were all talking, enjoying his beautiful company? And then the Prophet looked at you and looked at me, and he said that I was going to suffer harm from your hands, that you were going to one day hurt me. And remember when he told us that we didn't know what he was talking about because we were so close, we loved each other. We grew up together, we loved each other. So when the Prophet said that the day would come that you would hurt me, you made it your mission after that to protect me. You was always my protector. And when Ali reminded Zubair of that, Zubair said, Subhanallah, you're right. I remember that we were young boys, younger men back then. Young men. And the Prophet did say that a day would come when I would hurt you. He said, I forgot that. He said, I want you to know that I will never harm you, Ali. And I want you to know that I'm prepared right now to end this and let's all make peace. So here you can see they were trying to work together. And this meeting ended in goodwill, between them. So Ali, his cousin Zubair and his brother Talha, they were all eminent companions who were very close together in the Prophet's days. And Talha and Zubair went back weeping, happy, because they were finally doing the right thing, trying to end this fitna that Shaitan and the rebels had created. But it didn't end there. Unfortunately, again, what was it that Ali was ashamed of? He was ashamed of his army. His army were a bunch of men who played the role of rebels against Uthman. When those men in his army saw that Ali and Talha and Zubair and Ayesha were coming to some type of peaceful agreement, the men who did play a role in murdering Uthman became nervous. And again, these were hypocrites. The hypocrites are always amongst us. And this is how it is in life today. People claiming to believe in Allah, people pray like us, dress like us, live with us, but they really don't believe in Allah at all. They're all about trying to destroy Islam, to stand in the way of truth, to do things their way, to change the religion. Well, this was the case here when those men of Kufa saw Ali happy and Talha and Zubair happy. They had their own secret meeting. And they began to think, oh my God, what if they unite? And what if Ali end up supporting the idea of getting revenge for Uthman? That means all of us are going to be killed because all of us played a role. We hated Uthman. We were responsible for murdering him. So they set together in secret, these hypocrites from Kufa, to try to decide what they can do to save their skins. Okay? And one of the suggestions were, and listen at this, one of the men suggested that why don't we just kill all of them? We killed Uthman. Let's go ahead and kill Ali, Talha, and Zubair. But this proposal was turned down because they said if we did that, then that means their supporters will end up coming back seeking vengeance for their deaths. So ultimately, it was decided that they should take steps to ensure that the sides did not come to a peaceful agreement, and instead that they fought on the battlefield. In fact, they went through with this idea. Before Fajr, the hypocrites from Ali's army, decided that they were going to attack the army of Ayesha. But the word got back to Talha and Zubair. Somebody broke and told Talha and Zubair that they were planning to attack them. And when Talha and Zubair heard this, they ordered their army to go and counteract the attack. And when Talha's army went to try to stop them from attacking them, in the meantime, Ali had just got up, getting ready to make Fajr. He thought that they were attacking his army. He said, oh my God, I thought we resolved this. Now look at this. These men are getting ready to attack. So not knowing what was going on, Ali then ordered his men to pick up their swords and go out and meet these people to stop this attack. So now, right before Fajr, we got the two armies on the field fighting, all because of these hypocrites. All because of the hypocrites. Because they wanted to save their own skin. The men of Ali fought desperately, and the men of Ayesha fought desperately. Many, many, many people were killed during this battle, guys. Many eminent companions who were with the Prophet died on this battlefield, even including Talha. Talha, he fought bravely, but he was shot by an arrow, and he was taken to a home in Basra where he died from that arrow shot. And not only did Talha lose his life, but also Zubair. Zubair happened to escape, but while he was headed back to Mecca, he was countered up by another man who ended up killing him. So here we can see many, many companions were killed. Zubair, Talha, and also another man, Ka'b ibn Surah, who was a man who fought in many battles with the Prophet and also fought during the Caliphate of Abu Bakr and Umar. He was killed. So many, many, many eminent companions lost their lives. And this is, and people began to think about later the hadith of the Prophet, where he said the streets of Medina will run red with blood. Meaning many, many eminent companions would be killed. In fact, guys, so many people were killed that there was not one family in Medina who did not suffer the loss of a relative. This battle was so intense that they even found the hand that had a ring that belonged to an eminent companion. Okay, so again, this was a horrible battle that all began because of the hypocrites. And in the meantime, when Ayesha saw the fighting, she went out on her camel to try to stop all the carnage. She stood on her camel and she was surrounded by guards, and she was trying to get the people to stop fighting. But guess what? The hypocrites tried to attack her. They tried to kill her too. And as she was standing out in the middle of the desert trying to get the men to stop fighting, Ali, he came out trying to get it to stop too. When Ali looked out, he saw Ayesha sitting in her litter on top of her camel, and he saw his men, the hypocrites, trying to kill her. So Ali said, oh my God, look what they've done. He said the only way that we can do this without hurting the mother of the believer is to cut down the camel's legs. So he ordered his men to go out, cut down Ayesha's camel's legs, and then carry her off the field so these hypocrites wouldn't kill her. And that's what they did. And that's why this was called the Battle of the Camel. As the hypocrites from Ali's army were trying to take their jabs and kill Ayesha, Ali's personal guard went and cut down the camel's legs. They say the camel gave a loud scream as it went down to the ground dying, and that's when people stopped fighting. And that's when Ali's men grabbed Ayesha and got her to safety. And after this happened, this ended in victory for Ali because that camel died on the desert ground. It gave a horrible scream. The scream was so bad that Ayesha says later that she was plagued with nightmares for the rest of her life of that. Okay? And again, both sides lost many good men. Talha died of the wounds he received. Zubair, he met a brutal ending. What happened was when Zubair was on his way to Mecca, he came across a detachment that was led by the tribe of Qais. Zubair stopped to offer his prayers, and as he was prostrating, one of the men cut off his head. And when they cut off his head, they thought, oh wow, what a good thing we've done. We've killed Zubair. They put the head in a box and was hoping that if they took it back to Ali, Ali would reward them. These men cut off the head of Zubair, one of the eminent companions, a cousin to the Prophet. And this man took the gory head back to Ali. And when he opened the box and showed Zubair's head, Ali burst down into tears. And he told the man, you have done a horrible thing, and you will be in the hellfire for this. And the man was surprised. He said, what do you mean I'm going to be in the hellfire? You are an evil judge. I helped you. I saved you from your enemy. I cut off his head and brought it to you, and you're going to tell me my punishment is the hellfire? And then the man took his own sword and killed himself, plunged it into his own heart. That's how ignorant this man was. So the Prophet's prediction came true. He said that Zubair would meet harm at the hand of Ali. And Ali cried and cried about this for many, many years before he lost his own life. Ali never lived down the fact that his cousin, his beloved Zubair, met such a gory ending like that. So thus, that basically is the battle of the camel. But as you can see, it was not Ayesha's plan to fight, nor Talha or Zubair's, and it was not Ali's. They had reached a peace agreement. They were going to unite together as one and deal with the rebels together as one, which is what they should have done in the beginning. But the hypocrites from Kufa, they saw what was happening. They did not want to see Ayesha and Ali and them unite and strengthen their brotherhood, so they decided to make this war happen. And you know what Allah says? Anyone who hates one of the companions is a kafir. Anyone who kills one of them will be in the hellfire. So these men, who did this, they have already met their fate. But again, we have to learn from this as Muslims, because this happens all the time. Shaitan's made a promise. He will do everything in his power to cause us to turn against each other and destroy each other. We see it happening in mosques all over the world. You're close with the people in the mosque, or you're close with the imam, then all of a sudden Shaitan starts fitna, and you calling each other kafirs, killing each other, hating each other, slandering each other, reviling each other. This happens all the time, guys. We have to stop it. We have to learn from these eminent companions and not make the same mistakes. Learn from their mistakes and stop the fitna. Stop it from happening. Shoot down Shaitan. Shoot down these hypocrites. Like Allah says in the Quran, when someone comes to you with bad information about another Muslim, investigate it before you believe it. Don't go around repeating it. If you hear something bad about another Muslim, don't go around repeating it, because you may end up harming someone who is really a good person. Social media plays a horrible role in our lives today. Look at my website. There was a time I used to have over 100 people in here. Now I only have 20 because of the slander. The vicious, vicious people out there who are angry because of jealousy, because they were people who didn't have as much knowledge or understanding as I did, okay? Or because I wouldn't allow them to come in my website with fitna, so I kick them out, ban them. So they go around with lies, rumors, and scandal mongering, and people listen to them and believe them, and now I lost all my people. I don't have much support here. I don't even know if Sunnahfollowers are going to be on the net much longer because we don't even get that many donations. The people are taking their donations and giving them to these other people. Okay? So this is happening. We have to learn to do, this is why I taught you guys. This class, as I taught you before I did this series, about what to do when people come to you with slander, what to do when people come to you saying bad things about other people. You know, don't listen to it. Don't listen to it. Tell the person you're not interested. I don't want to hear it. I like that sister. I like that brother. I don't want to hear it. Remember, the Prophet ﷺ said, if you don't have anything good to say about a person, then keep your mouth shut. The person coming to you with the bad news is probably a bad person who's got an issue because maybe that other person is good and checked him in some way or another. So this is where we are right now. Ayesha was taken off the battlefield thanks to Ali and his men. What happened next? Remember, we have the situation with Muawiyah. Where's Muawiyah? Remember, Ayesha has sent him a letter. Remember, he was supposed to be coming to Basra. He hadn't arrived yet. What was he going to do? We'll pick up tomorrow. So we'll stop right here. If you guys have any questions or comments, you can go ahead and type them on the screen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha